We're going to go Houston first.
Let's do it.
Okay. Who you got at head coach?
I went with Gary Kubiak.
Okay.
Actually.
I really, really wanted to.
I love Kubiak.
No, me too. I went with Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I could. Bill
But there,
O'Brien really
I only
chances
have one reason for that. So let me explain real quick. So he's the only coach in Texans history with a winning record, delivered the most division titles and playoff appearances of any head coach. But I did note on here he will be kept very far away from the GM's office.
I don't care.
It's like I thought about not caring, but I was like, it's one season. The off season part of it is over. He just has to coach the team. And when he was just coaching, the Texans had the most success of any coach. So that's that.
He also choked the most I've ever seen any team ever do. Like that playoff blow up where they were up 21, 24 points.
Yeah.
I blame more on Bill O'Brien and his play calling than I blame Deshaun Watson.
No, I know. Trust me. This is not. I didn't even really want to do this. The problem is, no other coach in Texans history literally even has a winning record.
I fuck with Gary Kubiak, though.
I like him too, but
you gotta think about the guy.
They only won 2 divisions.
You gotta think of he did it with Matt Schaub, bro. Like he brought a Matt Schaub led team to the playoffs twice. That says leagues, and he won a Super Bowl this first year he came in with Denver. I know it doesn't count for this, but
that barely even counts for that because he just sort of walked into a ready-made team, and
he let him.
Whatever you say, dude. But
so you got to find a leader of men, dude.
Whatever you say. Like the only times that they won the AFC South were in the few years that the Colts were just rebuilding. Other than that, the Texans never even sniffed that division. So it's just
it's a different team.
Trust me, I have no interest in actually having Bill O'Brien. I also don't think Gary Kubiak's a great head coach either. I don't think the Texans have had a great head coach. That's why I just went with purely by the numbers. Coaching. Ugh. He can't be the GM.
It's not just a numbers
thing. It basically is when you don't have any good options.
I think Kubiak being a Super Bowl winning coach.
Not for the Texans, he's not.
Well, yeah, but I think that proves that, especially with the team he had taking them to playoffs, again with Matt Schaub, I don't know, man.
I'm not happy about Bill O'Brien, but you can have Gary Kubiak. I don't think either. It's not awesome either way.
I hate giving Bill O'Brien any credit.
Me neither, but
it's like, bro.
As a GM, he might have been the worst GM I've ever seen. But when he was just coaching the Texans, they had among their most successful years. So that's.
But their worst blowups is what I'm saying too. I don't know.
The Texans didn't have much success in terms of advancing in the playoffs or anything like that with Gary Kubiak either.
They never blew a 21-0 lead against the.
No, but they only ever beat, and I'm sorry to do this to you. The only team they ever beat was the Bengals.
Fucking Andy.
I'm just reminding you. Sorry, but that's the only team they were able to really get by.
It was a
and the Raiders without Derek Carr.
I was like, bro, if you give Gary Kubiak.
Yeah, we'll get onto the rest of this. I'm just saying, I'm not cool. I don't love it either way. I just felt
I think if you give Gary Kubiak a dream roster like this one, Bill O'Brien finds a way to ruin this dream roster. Gary Kubiak finds a way to win with this roster.
Okay.
That's why I go with Gary Kubiak.
All right, fair enough. Quarterback, who you got? I mean, it's pretty easy. There's only one great one, and it's Deshaun Watson. Sorry, everybody.
I really didn't want to because I was like, nah, fuck this guy.
You have to, though.
But yeah, he is really, honestly.
3 Pro Bowls, and he led the league in passing. Matt Schaub had a few good years, but it wasn't Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson was just... He was doing crazy stuff before the injury, and, immediately did not miss a beat when he came back and everything. So it was just... he brings more to an offense than Matt Schaub really can.
Certainly. I still remember Matt Schaub's extraordinary run of consecutive games with pick sixes. Yeah. Got up to 4 or 5.
Man, he was really good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was always a point in watching Matt Schaub play one of your teams, and Matt Schaub would be playing decently well. You're just like, why are we letting this guy fucking tear us up now? Yeah.
I know. But yeah, so we're going to Deshaun Watson. Controversy aside, easily the best quarterback to ever play for the Texans, was phenomenal in his time in Houston.
Until Davis Mills balls out.
Get it out of here. Running back, also an easy one. Arian Foster for me.
It's the same thing.
Yep. 4 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, second-team All-Pro, rushing yards leader, 2-time rushing touchdowns leader.
Yeah, I
Great running back in his prime.
If you had that guy on your fantasy team, you were living the dream. That guy would put up like 20 points a game.
Until injuries caught up to him, Arian Foster was one of the best backs in the league.
100%.
And another guy that was one of the best in the league, wide receiver. I don't know who you went 1 or 2 or anything, but for me, number 1 was really easily Andre Johnson.
I did Andre Johnson. He's a true number 1.
Yep, 7 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, second-team All-Pro, receiving yards leader, receiving touchdowns leader, surefire Hall of Famer. Like, Andre Johnson was one of the best receivers of his generation.
Yep.
He was right up there with guys like Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
Like, that is the, like, stratosphere he was operating in, so that's
Big
easy
time.
number 1 for me.
Big time. Oh, yeah. And he was just dominant. He was one of those guys that when you look at the guys from this era, that when there's, first of all, there's so many now.
Yeah.
But, like, back in the day, there weren't.
By the way, that's what makes him more impressive to me than these other guys. I think the reason why there's so many guys now is because the NFL is really easy to play offense.
Yeah.
And it's way easier to just come in and run routes and catch balls when they can't touch you and hit you.
Yeah.
Andre Johnson did it when they could touch you and hit you.
He was a monster.
I value him and his accomplishments much more than I value anybody who did most of their work post like 2015.
Yeah, I agree. No, he's by no means was he a diva. He was a get in your face and shut you up kind of guy. And dead ass, I mean, he was that guy. He would literally beat the shit out of Cortland Finnegan, no problem.
Yep.
And it was impressive as hell. I remember, like, it's still crazy.
It's one of the greatest fights I've seen.
One of the greatest fights, bro. Andre Johnson just bodied
Andre
him.
Johnson does not fear you.
No.
Wide receiver 2, I thought this was also pretty easy. This is where Nuke Hopkins comes in.
I put DeAndre Hopkins, too.
Yep,
Yeah.
4 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros, second-team All-Pro, 1 touchdown leader. He's not Andre Johnson, but he has incredible hands. And sort of had a Larry Fitzgerald thing going where he was playing with a bunch of really bad quarterbacks and just making really crazy catches. So did Andre Johnson for a lot of his career.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think Hopkins is a definite number 2 here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he really did. Like, the reason why I strictly don't have Bill O'Brien here is because of some of the shit that he did with the GM, which proves that he just doesn't know football to me, which is why I don't want him as a coach. And this is 100% one of the reasons why is because it's just like, dude, you are an idiot. Like, first of all, if you want to trade your wide receiver, you be my guest. Because any team in the league is happy to pay a first-round pick for a proven wide receiver, and they'll pay him.
Yeah.
You won't. So I am totally okay with you pulling the Titans and trading A.J. Brown because you just don't want to bother paying a guy.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with you shipping out DeAndre Hopkins because you don't agree with the guy. He's bothering the fuck out of you, Bill O'Brien. You hate the guy, whatever. To not get a first-round pick because you got a running back in David Johnson when you didn't have a fucking O-line, like, I have never seen a finesserie so fucking disrespectful.
Well, what's even more funny is the Cardinals are not known for their, like, confidence in doing this stuff. I mean, it just...
The Cardinals got that... You know what that tells me? Is the Cardinals got that phone call from Bill O'Brien. He came up with the trade offer, and they were like, fuck yes.
Listen, I don't really care how he left Houston. He was good while he was in Houston. He just wasn't Andre Johnson. So he's number 2.
He's number 2, but I mean, he was a hell of a wide receiver.
I don't think, by the way, I want this noted. There is no world in which I would ever have him passing Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
Like,
I prefer Andre Johnson.
A lot of people, because I know some people are like, well, if he stayed in Houston longer. No, I don't think, to me, he would never pass Andre Johnson.
Even if he'd stayed in Houston the whole time. I think Andre Johnson was just a different animal.
Yep. And then number 3, I got Brandon Cooks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because 2 years in Houston, 2,000-yard receivers, and has been a number 1 weapon on a team with no other weapons and still produced. Yeah. So that I got the Texans fielding 3,000-yard receivers.
Okay, I went with Kevin Walter. Same thing, basically. He was just Andre Johnson's other man. Was able to capitalize with Andre Johnson being who Andre Johnson was and was just a productive security possession guy. Something like 800 receiving yards, like 70-something catches, and 8 touchdowns. Like, I honestly, Wes Welker kind of type of guy. I like in my slot position. Did it for a long time with Andre Johnson, so he's kind of already got that chemistry of how to get open when Andre Johnson's already taking people away. And just being a good security possession guy when Andre Johnson's double team. So, went with a guy who did it for a while with a guy who already is on this list.
I picked 3 number ones.
I think
that was a big part of mine. As I was like, they got 3 guys who've been number ones at different times for them and produced. So that was the big difference for me.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about Brandon Cooks, to be completely honest. But at the same time, like, I'd put Brandon Cooks at maybe 4.
All right, tight end. I got Owen Daniels.
Yeah,
2-time Pro Bowler.
I have
not a particularly prolific tight end, but an effective one.
385 catches, 29 touchdowns, 4,617 yards. He wasn't Travis Kelce. He wasn't super fast or athletic, but he was just a big guy who caught balls.
Yep.
I love this guy. Owen Daniels ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Broncos in 2015. Big Kubiak fan, obviously, because that's what brought him over to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
He played for the Ravens with Kubiak while Kubiak was the offensive coordinator over there. I absolutely just love Owen Daniels. So when I got when we were getting the Texans, I was like, I don't care who's a better tight end, it's gonna be Owen Daniels on this list. But turns out Owen Daniels is that guy for them.
Yep, and I think that as the 4th, or you could argue 5th receiving option, Arian Foster could catch.
Yep.
He's a perfectly good player for that type of role.
Yep.
On to the O-line, left tackle Dwayne Brown.
Yep.
4 Pro Bowls, a first team All-Pro, 2 second team All-Pros. Was very, very good in Houston before eventually going to Seattle. And best tackle so far in Texans history. There's a possibility that my right tackle could eventually take that with longevity.
Yeah.
But Dwayne Brown, as of right now, I got at left tackle.
Yeah, that's who I got too. Who's your right tackle, since I think we might have the same?
Laramie Tunsil.
Same, yeah. It literally is those 2 guys at the bookends, and when it's all said and done, if Laramie Tunsil just keeps doing what he's doing now,
he's already got 2 Pro Bowls in Houston.
Yeah, I mean he could rack up a lot, 4 more.
The biggest trouble is it's tough for anybody to see him play when he's on the Texans as they are right now.
He is locked down over there. Like, to be honest, Bill O'Brien, great trade move there, but it's just like, bro, I can't believe you botched all of it. You botched bringing in Laramie Tunsil by the whole 2nd round pick for fucking Hopkins.
Definitely. All right, who you got at guard? I got left guard. I got Wade Smith.
I went with Chester Pitts.
I've got him at my right. I got Wade Smith at left guard because of a Pro Bowl appearance, every game in 3 seasons, and solid throughout.
Yep.
And then Chester Pitts, every game in 9 seasons, just didn't have the Pro Bowl nod.
Yeah.
So didn't have the one peak year that Wade Smith did, so I put him on the blind side.
Yeah. I just had him because, Iron Man, you could trust him to be there constantly. A big guy guarding for, in this situation, just giving Arian Foster room to run or Watson time to, make a play. So that's all we're really looking for.
Definitely. Center, I went Chris Myers.
That's what I went with.
Yep, 2 Pro Bowls also. So this line is 4 Pro Bowlers and then Iron Man. Yep. Not bad.
Yep.
Overall, this offense really isn't bad at all.
It's not. I don't think it stacks up with some of the legendary ones from a bygone era, but looking at it,
I don't really see much weakness other than guard, maybe. And it's that's if you're going to have a weakness. That's not a bad one to have.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's really not that bad. Much better than I thought. One of the more modern offenses we've seen.
I had this one in the back of my mind where I was like, they're going to be shockingly good because I can just recall different times of the Texans where it's like they had a lot of really good players a few different times. They just don't right now. On the defensive side, the first player is really, really easy, J.J. Watt. 5 Pro Bowls, 5 first-team All-Pros, the second-team All-Pro, 3 Defensive Player of the Years, 2-time sack leader, 2010s All-Decade Team, Walter Payton Man of the Year. His peak might have been one of the highest peaks of any defender ever. Injuries eventually took their toll, but he's also the all-time sack leader on the Texans with 101, which is almost double the next closest man, who we will get to later.
Yeah, no, that one's easy. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
The Texans don't have a lot of Hall of Famers right now because their franchise is so young.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of dudes that were on this team that could be or will be Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Dwayne Brown, Tunsil, J.J. Watt for sure.
Yeah.
Potentially.
D-tackle, this is one of the weaker spots. I went Amobi Okoye.
Okay.
Was never a Pro Bowler, but was just a decent interior defender for a few years. Yeah. They don't have a ton of accolades at the D-tackle spot.
I got him as my D2.
Okay. I went with 3 D linemen and 4 backers.
See, they have an incredible group of linebackers, which is almost what made me do the same thing, but I went with 4 because I went with another defensive end, Mario Williams.
That's my other DN.
Yeah, so I went with J.J. Watt, Mario Williams. Then for my 2D tackles, I went Sean Cody and Amobi Okoye.
Yeah, I went J.J. Watt, Amobi Okoye, Mario Williams. 2 Pro Bowls for Mario Williams, the first team All-Pro. He's third all-time in sacks for the Texans.
Yeah.
Even just being there a few years. So he was effective in his time in Houston. So, yeah, that's my D-line.
Yep.
Linebacker, I got Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
So 3 Pro Bowls. I was second team All-Pro, 4th all-time in sacks for Houston.
Yep.
Who you got at your first outside backer spot or your first linebacker spot?
You and me both.
Clowney?
Clowney, yeah. But
Cool.
my middle linebacker,
I'm gonna
Cushing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, hold on. Let me hit my other outside backer so
Okay.
I just get my pass rush over with.
Sure.
My other outside backer is Whitney Merciless.
That's who I got.
Second team All-Pro. He's second all-time in sacks for the Texans with 57.
Yep.
So I got it basically lined up so that I got Clowney, Watt, Okoye, Williams, and Merciless lined up on the line to rush.
Yeah, I got Cody, Williams, J.J. Watt, Okoye, Clowney, Merciless.
Who's off the ball then, Merciless or Clowney? Because one of them has to be off.
Take Clowney off.
Interesting. Yeah, and then I went 2 middle
No, I
backers.
take Merciless off.
I went 2 middle backers. We got the
But
same.
you can mix that up.
We got the same. We probably the same 2 other linebackers, Cushing and D'Amico Ryans.
I don't have Ryan's. I just got Cushing. So
Okay.
I got the 3 linebackers.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
Cushing, only 1 Pro Bowl, a second team All-Pro, Texans all-time leader in tackles. Really good linebacker in Houston. We're gonna set aside any PED controversies, but he was a monster in the middle. I thought he was had a little more accolades, but at the same time, there was a lot of good linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah, fight on. Dude,
So,
dude was a man.
Very good. And then D'Amico Ryans is my other one. 2 Pro Bowls, a first team All-Pro. He was the Texans' first real pillar player at linebacker.
Yeah.
And he proved to be a spectacular player depending on the year, and at the very worst was a very solid to good player.
Yeah.
He paired with Cushing, they make a really formidable duo in the middle, especially behind that front. So I feel pretty good about their linebacker core too.
Yeah, no, like I said, going through that list, I was like, dude, there's so many guys I have to leave off this list. They have done a good job with their linebackers.
Yeah. Corner, I think number 1 is we probably have the same guy. I got Jonathan Joseph, number 1. Yep, 2 Pro Bowls, second team All-Pro. He's the Texans' all-time leader in interceptions.
Yep.
That makes it a pretty easy choice.
Yeah, not difficult with that one.
Who's your second one?
I went with Aaron Glenn.
Really?
Yeah, I gave it to Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
I liked his consistency and everything that he had. Lasted for a couple of years. I think he's like 3rd or 4th in picks or something like that, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Maybe. He's not. I don't have him on here, so I didn't look him up.
He's a little bit off. But, he ended up getting replaced near the end by, I think, who you have on your second. But
Probably.
But, I liked his consistency. I liked the idea of, I was like, honestly, I just need a guy who I can trust out there day in, day out, do his job, and our pass rush is as strong as it is.
My second corner is Kareem Jackson.
Okay.
He finished his career in Houston as their second all-time interception leader.
Okay.
Might as well have been tied. He literally had 1 less than Jonathan Joseph.
See, I put him in at safety.
So he never played safety for the Texans.
You changed safety when he left.
Yep, never played safety in Houston.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, that's why I
That
thought about
explains
that.
it,
Yeah, but he never played safety in Houston. He played it in Denver. Never got the same accolades, but was a really good, solid corner for 9 seasons in Houston. So he gets my second corner spot.
Well, I think I gotta give second spot to him too as well because I have him on my list, but yeah, I put him in as my strong safety.
Yeah. From what I could see, he never played safety. I tried to find like the exact
Interesting.
point.
Yeah,
But
that must have been only in Denver then, and I must have just assumed he was safety the whole time. But so I shout out Kareem Jackson, put him in. I have him as my strong safety since clearly he can play safety. And,
yes, he can. Well, safety is another weak position for the Texans.
And safety honestly is a tough one, so I'll keep him at my safety
All
just
right.
because he can do it.
Sounds
And then
good.
My other safety is Glover Quinn.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had 2 different safeties. I only didn't go with Glover Quinn because his only peak year was with the Lions.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't go with him.
Yeah.
Granted, my 2 safeties didn't have elite years either. But my free safety is Andre Howell. Played in Houston for 5 years. Had at least 2 interceptions in all but one of them.
Yep.
Solid free safety. And then I went the other one. I went with Justin Reed.
Sure.
Was never a Pro Bowl player, but was solid safety and played well on bad teams.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that everybody says Kansas City signing him was a very smart choice.
Yeah.
So I got him at my other safety spot. Not the strongest position for the Texans, but I think we patched it up decently.
I think it's good enough as it is, and the pass rush is good enough that the secondary just needs to be decent.
Yep. All right, kicker, who you got?
Chris Brown.
Me too.
Is our just leader in Houston for their field goals made, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
all-time leading, the Texans all-time leading scorer.
Yep.
I think we're probably the same punter too. I got Leckler.
Yep.
Yeah. Longest average punt and inside the 20 punt percentages. Real easy. Might be the best punter ever. Has been like talked about in that type of light. So when you spend a large majority, not even a majority, but a good portion of your career with one team, and that's your status.
Yeah. I think you deserve it. Yeah.
Then kick return or punt return. I have a familiar name, Jacoby Jones.
God, I hate that guy.
Yeah. Longest return average. Mostly return punts in Houston, but we've seen his prowess as a kick returner.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that was good in Houston too. But yeah, he started off there before going to Baltimore and was already showing potential as a returner.
It worked out apparently.
Yep. All right, so that is the Texans roster.